going, Raider Nation? It's JT coming at you with another episode of the Raidercast, your podcast for everything silver and black. Today, I'm going to be talking about the Raiders' free agency moves so far. After only a week of free agency and only less than a week of the league year officially starting, I want to be discussing the Raiders' moves so far in signing players and which players left, which players got traded, stuff like that. Although I've already talked about Waller, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Jacoby Myers in their separate videos, so definitely go check those out. They'll be up in the corner. I did it wrong already, up here. So definitely go check out those videos. But I'm going to be talking about all the free agency signings that I have not talked about yet. Credit to the Raiders.com for this great free agency tracker. I'm going to be talking about all of them right now. So we have Jacob Bobenmeyer, new long snapper instead of Trent Sieg. Definitely sad to see the trio of C. Carlson and Cole being, split apart. But when your long snapper accounts for 3 penalties, which is the most by any long snapper since 2009 in one season, that's definitely an issue you don't want to have or have to worry about. Now, there is the obvious issue of, you don't want to break up chemistry because chemistry is hard to create. But I think Cole and Carlson are really good guys. Obviously, they'll miss their friend, but they'll definitely take Bobenmeyer in, and they'll become one of the trio. Obviously, Phil Dorsett, great speedy vet. I really like this signing. Marcus Epps, like this signing. I think he's done really good in Philly. I think people overhated this signing because of his bad coverage grades in PFF, but overall, if you look past his 2022, his 2021 and 2020 were really good coverage years for him. He just had one bad down year, and now he's a Raider, and I think this is a really solid signing, and I'm really excited to see what they have going for him. He's going to be wearing number 1, so he better be pretty good wearing number 1. You got Brandon Facyson coming back to the Raiders after a 1 year in between, playing for the Raiders in 2021, and now he was a Colt, and now he's a Raider again. I'm glad to have him back. He'll be a very solid CB4. He was a very solid backup in 2021 when Trayvon Mullen got hurt. Shocker, I know, Trayvon Mullen getting hurt, who would have thought? But I think that if all else fails, if a rookie corner is not working out, if Hobb gets hurt, or if we bring back Rock Ya-Sin or another vet and they get hurt, he's a very, very solid corner that will provide good depth, very good depth at that, and also be a solid starter if needed. And then you have, of course, porn star Jimmy Garoppolo, the sexiest quarterback in the league, being signed. I already talked about him. Like I said, go check out that video. But I really like this signing. O.J. Howard Rappaport put as the Waller replacement. Talk about Waller being traded as well. Obviously, shocking news, but it makes sense for what Waller provided for us the past 2 years. Injury-riddled seasons. Didn't seem like he was super focused on the Raiders, didn't really buy into the new regime, so he got traded away for value of a, third-round pick. But we bring in O.J. Howard, former first-round pick, who had played pretty solidly for Tampa Bay, and then for Houston last year, had a kind of a down year in Houston, but should be solid competition in camp for the rookie we bring in, Jesper Horsted, and also possibly Austin Hooper, who we might bring in later this week. Then you have Jacoby Myers, who I talked about. Great signing, in my opinion. Really true wide receiver, too, to pair up with Devontae Adams and also Hunter Renfrow in the slot. These three should combine make defense is really confused on who's the slot, who's going outside, because they really are all versatile wide receivers, and I'm excited to see what McDaniels cooks up for those three. Then you have Robert Spillane, linebacker. People really did not like this signing as our really only linebacker signing so far. It's definitely not great to see Robert Spillane be the only, signing in linebackers because our linebacker core is so weak right now. But I think he's going to be underrated. I think he's an underrated signing. I think he's going to be very solid for us. Is he the starter that we really need? That's to be determined, but as of right now, no. But there's still a whole big rookie class coming up, and I think we should get a really solid starter linebacker, especially coverage, as a rookie. And then the final one that we also had today, that's a non-Raider from last year, was Jordan Willis, solid rotational defensive tackle from San Francisco. He offers like a Solomon Thomas type of play that, if you remember him from 2021, just coming in the rotation on pass rushing downs and just getting sacks or getting pressure so that Max Crosby or someone else can get a sack, or just making errant throws, stuff like that. He should definitely be a very solid player in that regard. Now we have the players that was franchise tagged. Josh Jacobs, so that was obviously great. Josh Jacobs. Then we have Amir Abdullah to round out our running back room of Jacobs, Zamir White, Brown, and then Abdullah. Curtis Bolton, Curtis Bolton's special teamer. Jermaine Illuminor, great right tackle for the price, especially $3 million. That's not a lot at all. Haranis Grasu, practice body. Jesper Horsett, probably practice body, can't body, practice squad guy, but we shall see what happens with the tight end room. Jakob Johnson, of course. Natane Matui could definitely be a starting guard, possibly. Brandon Parker, swing tackle. Roderick Teamer, special teamer. And Jerry Tillery, pass rushing specialist, defensive tackle. Hopefully he gets better against the run. Harris obviously had some boneheaded mistakes last season, but his impact on the defense was definitely felt, especially in the Chargers game. So hopefully he gets better for us, but we shall see. So those are all the signings that we've had so far. It's about 20, a little over 20 signings so far. Well, before I even continue with what I was going to continue on saying, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel, to this video. Don't forget to like the video. Don't comment down below how you guys are feeling so far about free agency, because I'm feeling okay for now. That is why I'm saying don't panic yet, because there is still a lot of free agents available. There's a ton of free agents available. You have there's a very solid list that my friend on Twitter, Tristan Kuhn, put out. He put out this video, this little thread of players that are still available. You have a bunch of interior O-line available. You have some solid centers. I mean, Justin Pugh, Dalton Reisner are very good. Edge, Jadeveon Clowney. You have Dante Fowler. We met with Van Ginkel, Shelby Harris, Quentin Jefferson, former Raiders. Very solid defensive tackles we can still sign for probably cheap. You have Deion Jones, Bobby Wagner still available, Nicholas Morrow and Denzel Perryman, former Raiders as well. Marcus Peters is available at corner. You also have Ronald Darby. There's just some really solid players still available, and so I'm not that worried about free agency still. We can still get some really good bang for buck, and that's really what this regime is about. That is really what the Patriots were about for 20 years. You do not make big splashes in free agency, because we've seen that big splashes in free agency does not always mean lasting success. We saw the Raiders make big splashes in 2019. They went from 4-12 to 7-9. Whoa, that's an increase of 3 wins. That's awesome. That's crazy, but it doesn't mean it's going to last, because 2020 we only went up to 8-8, and obviously in 2021 we made the playoffs at 10-7 and stuff like that, but that was a lot of luck, and honestly we should have ended up that season at 6-10. It doesn't, spending big does not always mean it will last forever. That you spend big in free agency when you're close to getting to a Super Bowl. The Eagles did it this past offseason and throughout the season. They got free agents on defense like that. They spent a good amount on their defense in free agency, and they made a push to the Super Bowl, and they made it. They made the Super Bowl. They obviously did not win, but they also drafted players to replace those free agents. They got players in, redshirted them basically, let them learn the system, let them be fresh for their second season and be able to hit the ground running. They played that very, very well. Look at the Patriots, even back in 2019, their first season they ever spent big. They spent a shit ton of money in free agency that year. And what did it do? They went from 7-9 in 2020, or was it 8-8 in 2020? I don't remember what it was, to 10-6 in a decimating loss in the playoffs to the Bills. I mean, yeah, they increased their wins, but has it really led to lasting success? They put out a bunch of money for tight ends that really only Hunter Henry's really contributing. Jonnu Smith was just traded for a 7th round pick just to dump the contract. I mean, it really, really hurt their cap. It hurt our cap back in 2019. We're still paying for overpaid free agents in Corey Littleton and a bunch of other players and the rookies that we failed with. Alex Leatherwood, Kenyon Drake was an overpay. Like I said, Corey Littleton, huge overpay. You do not want to just overpay and spend cap to, hopefully be really, really good in one season with all these free agents. But if it blows up, and you suck and you don't make playoffs like we did in 2019, then you're stuck paying these contracts to guys. And if your draft picks don't work out, then you're stuck with terrible, terrible rookies. You're stuck with these terrible contracts, and then you're kind of in the shitter for a few years and miraculously make a playoff push in 2021. But irregardless, the way that Ziegler and McDaniels are going about it is make depth in free agency. You spend little in free agency. You put out 1 year, 2 year deals, or longer deals that can be cut after 1 or 2 years. Their structures of their contract are really, really good. There's outs either after 1 year or 2 years or even 3 years, depending on the contract, depending on who it is. Jimmy Garoppolo could realistically be cut next season, and we get hurt very little by the dead cap. Jacoby Myers the same way. A bunch of these contracts are the same way. You can get cut after 1 season if you do not play well and we do not take a major cap hit. That is how the contract should have been structured under Gruden and Mayock, but obviously that didn't happen. And then you have 12 picks going into the draft. 12. You have a top 10 pick that you can get either a QB if they fall. You can get a really, really good defensive player there as well. As long as you don't reach at any of your draft picks and you get best player available that really hits a need as well, which realistically, especially if it's a defensive player, it'll fill a need because we need all the help on defense. You can get star players in the draft. Look at the Seattle Seahawks last year. They had about 5 picks that ended up being really, really solid contributors. Look at the Jets. They had both rookie players of the year be from the Jets, Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner. That is the difference that draft picks can make. That is the difference that building in the draft can make. I don't mind this. Trust the process. It's going to take a little bit to get to that point. But if we can make a playoff push or be in the playoff contention later into the season, honestly, the Jets would have been in the playoffs if they actually had a quarterback. We have our quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo, who will be very solid as long as he stays healthy. We have a very, very good offensive playmakers. We'll have a solid O-line, and our defense will be the difference maker. But if we can get those guys in the draft like the Seahawks did, we'll be making a playoff push late into December and possibly make the playoffs in January. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments about this philosophy, this idea that I'm bringing about, and why I'm telling you guys don't panic quite yet. We don't know what the draft looks like. We still don't know what the roster will even look like, even remotely close to what it'll look like going into the 2023 season. So let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, Raider Nation.